I hereby declare David William Donald Cameron is duly elected.
Nick Clegg.
Gordon Brown.
The declaration of the final result in an election doesn't necessarily mean the immediate forming of a government. In 2010, the negotiations were complicated, but what we now face is potentially far more complex. The prize of this election is walking up this street and through the famous front door of number 10. There, by tradition, the Prime Minister is greeted by the Cabinet Secretary and clapped in by all the number 10 staff. But if no one party wins an absolute majority, it's not clear who gets to make this journey. It is up to the trusted inner circles of the various leaders to hammer out an agreement behind closed doors and then to get the approval of their respective parties. In the meantime, the Prime Minister remains in post running the country and ministers run their departments, even if they've lost their seats as MPs. In 2010, the bulk of the negotiations took place at the Cabinet Office. As Cabinet Secretary, I was here to facilitate and advise, but it was for the politicians to trade their policies with the various other parties in the hope of reaching enough agreement to form a stable and effective government.
Is it a government? Is it a coalition, William? You'll find out soon enough.
This time, there are a number of possible outcomes. One party could win an outright majority, although currently that looks unlikely. We could have another coalition, or a minority government with one or more parties, or a mix of coalition and looser arrangements. We could have a grand alliance between the two main parties, but neither Labour nor the Conservatives seem to be contemplating such a radical solution. Here in Scotland, the SNP is expected to win a significant number of seats, giving their leader, Nicola Sturgeon, a strong hand to play in any negotiations. Given their lengthy experience in coalition government, they're expected to drive a very hard bargain. Much will depend on the price Ed Miliband is willing to pay for their support. There is no timescale on these discussions. Coalition is no longer a new concept for the country, and the parties won't be under immediate pressure to complete a deal. The negotiations in 2010 were played out against a backdrop of economic crisis at home and in the Eurozone. There was an urgent need for stability, and this gave the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats a common cause to rally around. This time there is less urgency and perhaps less political overlap between the parties, so it's not clear what the common theme will be, nor how long it will take to reach a deal. What seems increasingly likely is that the electorate might end up with a government that they feel they didn't vote for. So one of the first challenges facing a newly elected Prime Minister might be dealing with a level of public frustration at the electoral system that put him there.